Fox Sports.
We are Fox Sports. We are Fox Sports.
The Rays took game one with one big blast. A blast and a miscue gave the O's game two. Game three is on tap. The Rays and the Birds tied for first. What will happen next? Welcome to Rays Sunday Baseball, brought to you by Hyundai. This afternoon at Tropicana Field, the fans gathered for the wrap-up game of this three-game series for the Rays, the final game of the homestand. The Rays and the Orioles even at a game apiece. The American League East, tight as ever. The Rays and the Orioles tied for first. New York a game and a half back, with Boston now running fourth, two back, and the Blue Jays are three out. Hi again, everyone. Welcome to an afternoon of Rays baseball. Dwayne Stats with Todd Callis. Great to have you with us. The Rays and the Orioles battling out here for first place. And the Rays will send Matt Moore, the young left-hander, to the mound. This is not the same Matt Moore that started the season struggling. In fact, he's been pretty good over his last three starts, and particularly last Monday against the Chicago White Sox.
Dwayne, you can really start to see him piece everything together, and when it finally clicks, it's going to be danger for the rest of the American League. Last start against the White Sox, really one mistake. Adam Dunn got him with a home run, a two-run shot, and that was it. Look at the walks to strikeouts. Just one walk and 10 strikeouts. Moore was really pounding the strike zone, and you see that confidence that was there at the end of last season really rising once again this year. And this guy's stuff is as good as anybody when he's on.
And the starting pitching matchup presented by your Southern Ford dealers. Matt Moore with a 1-5 mark, makes his 11th start of the year already. Jake Arrieta, a right-hander. He's made 11 starts, 2-6. He's lost 4 and had 1 no decision in his last 5 starts. Rays and the Orioles on tap, and when we come back, the rest is unleashed.
本当にスイング through the ball だからでバック外のスイングで後でパーンホームランです。さあよかった、ありがとうございます。はい、わかりました
And welcome back. Rays and Orioles just minutes away from action here at the Trop. And for all you young players out there, check out former Major Leaguer Orestes Estrada talking here about setup in the batter's box.
You know, yesterday I was talking about the foundation, Hideki Matsui, how well he is, how well-centered he is. I'm going to show you a couple of demonstrations of what he does and what's good that a young hitter should do. It's about your foundation. Really, it's your bottom half, how important it is to be the nice width and to be set down, centered down. The weight should be on the inside parts of your leg, not on the outside parts where you get unbalanced. It should be on the inside part, so you squeeze down, basically. And the other thing that he does very well that I learned in Japan is throw your knee at the catcher when you're going to stride and your heel at the mound. So basically, instead of coming this way where you're giving up a third of your power right there, you're going to throw your knee at the catcher, you're going to plant, your heel is basically going at the mound. That gives you full rotation and full power of using your whole body. This way, you've already kind of given up about a third of your body. Your hips open. You're going to miss the outside pitch. And if you do get a good pitch, you're not getting all into it. This way, watch my heel, my knee, boom. I'm exploding through the ball. That's what a good hitter should do. Foundation and stride.
All right, and be sure to keep your eye on guys like Hideki Matsui today, and you'll get a better understanding of foundation and balance. Take it toward game time here at the Trop. First pitch coming up in 2:52 right here on Sun Sports. Stay with us.
You buy Hyundai. If it's fuel efficient, affordable, stylish, and safe, it's probably a Hyundai. By AT&T, the nation's largest 4G network. AT&T, rethink possible. And by Toyota, visit your local Toyota dealer today for great deals on the amazing lineup of Toyota vehicles. Toyota, moving forward. Homestand concludes with the Rays taking on the Baltimore Orioles, each team with identical records. The Rays with 30 wins and 23 losses. They're 2-3 against Baltimore this year. Here is the Oriole lineup. Robert Andino leads it off, followed by Indy Chavez, and then J.J. Hardy hits third. Adam Jones in center field with Matt Wieters doing the catching, getting fifth in front of first baseman Mark Reynolds. Ronnie Polito will be the designated hitter. Steve Pearce, just acquired yesterday, in right field, and Steve Tollison is at third base. He will bat ninth.
Matt Moore making his 11th start of the season. So far, the Rays 3-7 in his previous 10 starts. Frustrated in his appearance against Baltimore on the road, but since then, his last 3 have been very good after that 4 1/3 inning outing at Camden Yards. Last start was his best of the year against the White Sox. 7 innings of 2-run baseball. Walked 1 and struck out 10. Matt Moore, a lot of 4-seam fastballs. He'll mix in the 2-seam, the changeup, and the curveball as well. Today's defense brought to you by Sweet Bay Supermarkets. It is Hideki Matsui in left field, B.J. Upton in center, and Matt Joyce back in the lineup in right. Left to right, Will Rhymes, Elliott Johnson, Ben Zobrist, and Carlos Pena on the infield. Jose Molina behind the plate. Matt Moore on the mound. Brought to you by Sweet Bay, home of the new Sweet Spot Burger.
We're set to play baseball. Andino in the batter's box, and the first pitch presented by Pinch-A-Penny, and that's a called strike. Chris Guccione called the balls and strikes in this game. The pitch is upstairs. 1-1. Andino, 246 on the year and 271 against left-handed pitching. 2-1, and the splits for Matt Moore interesting in that the left-handed hitters have a much higher batting average, but that's a trend that has started to change in his last few outings. There's ball 3, 3-1. Three-one pitch to Andino. He fouls it back. Full count. It has been command of that fastball against left-handed hitters that really plagued Matt Moore early in the year. And a swing and a miss. A fastball at 95 miles per hour. And Dino is out on strikes.
Well, you mentioned the splits that are a little unusual for Matt Moore, and you're right. The fastball command against lefties hasn't been able to spot that curveball because he hasn't been ahead of the counts a lot of times against those lefties. So that's why left-hand hitters are hitting .353 against him. Look at the walks to strikeouts. Only 9 strikeouts against lefties, and he's walked 8 of them. They're slugging 169 points higher, lefties are, than righties.
Here's Chavez chopping one down to Will Rhymes at third on the first pitch. He's out of there. Fastball takes care of Chavez.
But Buck Showalter doesn't want to buy into the reverse split guy yet, at least in the lineup he's presenting today, because he had some choices like Chris Davis, who he chose not to play today, and he's only going with one lefty in the lineup. Yeah,
and I think he'd be premature to do that because the evidence indicates that over the last 3 games, for an example, when he finished that start against Boston, retiring the last 10 men he faced, pitch to Hardy is down, and then he pitched pretty well against Toronto until the 5th inning, and he ran into a situation where I think he got a little ahead of himself, and he ran a high pitch count in that 5th inning in a short period of time. That presented a problem, but he had thrown 4 very good innings. There's a base hit the other way for Hardy. On the 1-1 pitch, he sends the fastball into right field. And the last time out against the White Sox in 7 innings, he was very good. So if you look at the 3-inning stint with the White Sox, the 4 out of 5 against the Blue Jays, and 7 solid innings his last time out against the White Sox, well, that's 14 out of 15 innings in which he's been very good now. And we've started to see a little more success against left-handed hitters in that stretch than he had before. A foul ball by Adam Jones. Strike 1. So I think he's on the path to normalizing that start and finding what we saw that was so effective when he came up last year. High pop fly, short center. Here comes B.J. Upton. He'll make the catch, and that retires the side. No runs, a hit with one left. We go to the bottom of the first, no score. Today's game presented in high definition, brought to you by H.H. Gregg. Carlos Pena is going to lead off again today for the Rays, and Joe Madden. B.J. Upton second. Matt Joyce in there hitting third in front of Ben Zobrist. Luke Scott and Hideki Matsui comprise the heart of the lineup. Will Rhymes will get a start with his left-handed bat at third. Elliott Johnson at shortstop, and Jose Molina will catch.
Jake Arrieta on the mound for the Orioles this afternoon. On the season, you can see the last time he went against the Rays on the season, he has not had much run support. An ERA of 5.37 and a win-loss record of 2-6. Against righties, four-seam fastball, sinker, and some sliders. Against the lefties, about the same amount of four-seamers and sinkers, but also mix in a curve more often and a change. And he'll get a second start of the year against the Rays after he struggled against them at Camden Yards.
Well, the Rays got him for 7 runs, 10 hits, and 3 2/3. And here's Carlos Pena stepping in to lead off the home half of the first. And the first pitch is a curveball. It's a bit low, 1 ball, no strikes. And the defense in a shift arrangement here for Carlos Pena, overloading the right side. Pitch is down, 2-0. Arrieta in with 2 wins and 6 losses. And he finds the strike zone with a fastball. It's 2-1. That fastball at 93, and you can see him at times be strong into the mid-90s with that fastball. Carlos had 2 hits against him in Baltimore. Up in the count now. He had a pair of 2 base hits. In fact, his double in the 4th inning of that game drove in a couple runs and knocked him out of the game as the Rays eventually won it 9-8. 3-1 and a towering shot back to center. Not all that deep, and Jones is there to make the catch.
Behind Jake Arrieta defensively in the outfield, Endy Chavez back in there and left, Adam Jones in center. Steve Pearce, just acquired from the Yankees organization, the former Pirate, is in right. On the infield, Steve Collison back in the infield, J.J. Hardy at short, Robert Andino at second. 6th straight start for Mark Reynolds at first. Matt Wieters has started every game behind the plate, and he catches Arrieta.
And B.J. Upton takes a look at a fastball low.
The Orioles defense brought to you by Sweet Bay Supermarkets, home of the new Sweet Spot Burgers.
The liner into left. Will hang up for Chavez, who makes the catch. 2 up and 2 down. Now Matt Joyce. Matt was not in the lineup yesterday. Had a couple of hits and a walk in Friday's game when the Rays won 5-0. Had a run scored in that game, and Joe Madden is indicating that we're going to start to maybe see a little bit more of Matt Joyce in against left-handed pitching, because he's swinging the bat much better in a consistent way against lefties, facing the hard-throwing right-hander Arrieta here today. And the shift is on for Joyce. 1-0 the count. That's a strike. Those numbers you just saw there, good news for Matt Joyce, who, by the way, is 5 out of 10 lifetime against Arrieta with a home run. Pitch down and in, a curveball. 2-1.
The Rays are just happy to see a righty. 4 out of 5 games they've faced a lefty starter.
There's a fly ball into right field. That ball got in on him a bit, and he really hit a towering fly ball and back about 3 steps from the track. Pearce makes the catch. We go to the second, no score.
Today's game available in Spanish via SAP, brought to you by Coventry Healthcare of Florida.
Well, a quick first inning for Matt Moore and Jake Arrieta. We go to the second. Matt Wieters will lead it off. He'll be followed by Reynolds and Polino. There's a shot hit deep in to left center field and gone. Wieters looking for that first pitch fastball, and he nails that one. 10th home run given up by Matt this year, and it's 1-0 Baltimore. Little question about that one upon contact.
You're right, Dwayne. He was looking fastball. He gets fastball on the inner part of the plate, and he puts a big swing on it. You look at that big front step as he just absolutely leverages into that pitch. He hit a lot of home runs last year right-handed, but that's his first one this year righty.
Now here's Reynolds. Fouls it back, the fastball away.
Scouting report on Mark Reynolds is that he sees a lot of pitches. Doesn't qualify yet for his plate appearances, but of all the hitters right now with at least 125 plate appearances, he sees more pitches per at bat than anybody. And a lot of times he either hits a home run or strikes out.
Yeah, he's been in 32 games. He's back active. 0-2 the count. A couple of home runs and 11 runs batted in. And a little nubber through the right side against the shift. That open right side, and he has himself a base hit. An 0-2 breaking pitch. And Reynolds is aboard.
I think it's the pitch location more than anything. It's not a bad idea if you go 0-2 curveball, but with that shift on, you can see the entire right side of the infield's open right here, and that's just where he puts it. 0-2 curveball is okay, but you either have to bounce it or put it in a place where Reynolds can't do that with that pitch.
Now Ronnie Polino up here. The pitch is away. Fastball, 1 ball, no strikes.
The thing that might frustrate Joe Madden or Jim Hickey is that Reynolds didn't look very good on the previous fastball, and then you speed his bat up a little bit with a breaking ball.
And now fastball inside. 2-0. Well, he grooved one on the fastball to Wieters. And Wieters hit it into the seats. And he's behind Polino. 3 balls, no strikes. So he's having a little issue with his command here in this inning. Had that quick first inning. Gave up the opposite field single to Hardy, but took care of the Orioles in quick order. And now he walks Polino, missed with a fastball. So just like that, his location has not been good here in the second. He gets a visit from Molina.
Strange inning. He gets ahead of Reynolds 0-2, and then he gets that little ground ball base hit to the right side. Then he walks Polino on 4 pitches. Kept kind of doing a little work there on the mound right around his landing foot area. I'm not sure if that was bothering him on that last sequence or not. Rays fans, you can win your chance to gain all access for 2 to the June 29th Rays versus Tigers game at Tropicana Field. You can get an exclusive behind-the-scenes tour with Sun Sports. Log on to foxsportsflorida.com and click on the Rays tab for official rules and find out how to enter.
Molina with an extended visit out there. The Orioles have taken a 1-0 lead and mounting a threat for more, first and second with nobody out. And Steve Pearce will be the hitter. Orioles got him yesterday from the Yankees. He was at their AAA affiliate Scranton. And the fastball misses up and away. Pearce has some pop. He had 11 home runs at AAA, hitting .321. And a strike. Fastball in the upper reaches of the strike zone. So a challenge in the second here for Matt Moore to limit the damage. Two balls and a strike. Just with the change. We get another visit from Molina. So Molina trying to coax Matt Moore through the second inning. It's been a difficult start to this frame.
Well, they had a long discussion before Pearce's at bat after the 4-pitch walk, and now just 3 pitches into this at bat, another meeting.
And here's the issue for the Rays. They've lost 5 of their last 7, and they're hitting just .141 on this homestand. Fly ball into right. Joyce will back up get into throwing position to make the catch. Reynolds tags. He's going to go to third. Throws into second. So deep enough for Reynolds to advance on the fly ball. That's the first out. And Baltimore runners are set up at first and third. So the Rays offense has not exactly been setting the house on fire. They've scored 2 or fewer runs in 4 of their last 6. So any of these situations become critical. But the offense struggling to score runs. Here's Steve Tollison. Pitch is in there for a strike. Marlo Hale, the third base coach, came way down the line giving the signs from Showalter. Pitch is fouled back. 0-2.
Started him out with a called strike on the changeup, then doubled up on the changeup.
There's Hale. He came about halfway down the line. You could pick him off.
But he could have just talked to him in his ear.
Yeah.
This is what we're doing.
Oh, 2. Foul back. Fastball up. Tollison back in the lineup. He played left field on Friday. Was not in the lineup in yesterday's game. And a swing and a miss. He's out on strikes. Fastball by him. So that's strikeout number 2 and out number 2 here in this inning.
Both of Moore's strikeouts have come on fastballs, and both of them had the plate. You can see right there, down to the count 0-2. 94, and Tollison unable to catch up. Big out right there, especially when you mentioned the lack of offense recently for the Rays, not giving up that second run thus far.
Now Andino, who struck out in the first, bats again in the second. And he takes the pitch for a strike. So Moore trying to rebound after giving up the leadoff home run. And the Reynolds base hit, the 4-pitch walk to Polino. That's a foul ball back, out of play, and runs the count to 0-2. And a swing and a miss. He blazes that one right by him at 95, limiting the damage to 1 run. 1-0 Baltimore.
Second in today's game and all season long, Tires Plus donates $100 to the Pediatric Cancer Foundation for every Tampa Bay Rays home run hit during televised Sun Sports or Fox Sports Florida games.
Here's Ben Zobrist in the batter's box to lead off the second. Rays down by a run. Jake Arrieta's pitch is a strike to Ben. Luke Scott next, and then Hideki Matsui. It's a 1-1 count. Curveball over for a strike. 1-2. Orioles leading on the home run by Matt Wieters to open the top half of the second inning. That, by the way, was the second home run Wieters has hit off Matt Moore in 3 official at bats. 2-2 the count to Zobrist. A swing and a miss. He got him to chase the high fastball. That fastball up, apparently out of the strike zone at 94.
You don't see this often. Ben Zobrist chasing a pitch that far out of the zone with 2 strikes. Thought that might be something to hit. He ended up getting a late swing, and you can see it was up above the strike zone.
And that's something the Orioles would like to see Arrieta do a little bit more of. Get to 2 strikes and then try to get the hitter and not run a deep count. This pitch is a breaking ball in there for a strike. He does tend to like the strikeout. Sometimes that'll get him into trouble. He'll get ahead of hitters, and then instead of going right after him or using that fastball, he's got a 2-2 or a 3-2 count. Now he's ahead of Scott. 0-2. He can run some higher pitch counts than the Orioles are comfortable with. Luke down in the count, and the breaking ball, and that's taken for strike 3. An 0-2 curveball, back-to-back strikeouts of Zobrist and now Scott.
For all the latest updates on your Tampa Bay Rays, log on to TampaBay.com. From the diamond to the clubhouse, we bring you the in-depth news, stories, and scores 24 hours a day only at TampaBay.com, powered by the Tampa Bay Times. I think Luke Scott thought that pitch may have curved around the plate and not on the plate.
Hideki Matsui takes a look at a fastball out of the strike zone. 1-0. Two balls, no strikes. Matsui, 1 of 3 lifetime against Arrieta, and he's ahead in the count, 3-0. Base is empty. And that's taken for a strike. And strike 2. Now we're full. Mid-90s fastball from Arrieta. Well, start of the year for the right-hander, Jake Arrieta. And a chopper grabbed by Arrieta straight back to the mound. So Matsui's out. Arrieta to Reynolds. 1-2-3 go the Rays to trail 1-0. 1-0 Baltimore on top. Indy Chavez leads it off. The first pitch for Matt Moore is a strike. Moore, after struggling a little bit to open the second, settled in. He got Pierce, Tollison, and Dino in short order. Now one hopper to shortstop. The pick up and throw. And that takes care of Chavez. 6-3 on the one hop low liner. Johnson to Pena. Here's J.J. Hardy coming on now. Hardy singled the other way his first time. Pitch is down. 1 ball, no strikes. One and one. Yankees have taken a 3-0 lead in Detroit. New York batting in the top of the 4th. Red Sox are playing the Blue Jays in Toronto, and a tough start for Daniel Bard. 5-0 the Blue Jays at the end of 2. Bard gave up a home run to Bautista. Ground ball chopped to third. Long throw for Will Rhymes, and it's there in time to get Hardy. 2 gone.
Don't miss the Rays on the Runway fashion show benefiting the Children's Dream Fund on June 14th. Players will walk the runway and model this season's newest fashions. Get your tickets at childrensdreamfund.org. Rays fashion show on the runway.
Here's Adam Jones. And the pitch he checked in time on the appeal down to Tim Shida. But to start for Daniel Bard, an inning and 2/3, he gave up the home run to Bautista, hit 2 men, he walked 6, and charged with 5 earned runs. Little number right side. Pena tries to get the tag, safe the call. Moore started to move in that direction, but as Pena grabbed it, Moore found himself short of the bag, sort of in no man's land, and could not get to the bag in time.
I still thought Carlos was going to flip it to Matt, as Matt looks like right here, if he takes the throw, he's going to beat Jones there. I think Matt was kind of expecting the handoff too, and Carlos.
Did Jones ever touch the bag?
Yeah,
I guess he did right there with his left hand. Well, not the hardest base hit he'll ever pick up in his major league career, that's for sure. Jones at first base, and the hitter is Matt Wieters. Low, and is blocked by Molina.
Last year when Wieters hit 22 home runs, he had half from the left and half from the right side. A lot fewer at bats hitting right-handed, so his slugging percentage last year much better righty. But this year he had been homerless until that first at bat as a right-hand hitter.
And he shoots it up the middle, a base hit into center. Turning second and holding is Jones. So that gives Wieters 2 for 2 today.
Breaking ball that Wieters stays on. You know, this little extra out here in the inning, I know it was ruled a base hit, but that's a play that you probably should make.
Yep.
And it's one of those cases where now you're tacking on more pitches, and there's still a rally going on here. The Rays defense continues to be an issue this season. Unfortunately, most of the stuff's been on the infield. I think the outfield defense has been pretty solid, but the infield D has not been up to Joe Madden standards for sure.
Yeah, 45 errors for the Rays. They've committed 22 errors in their last 20 games. Here's Mark Reynolds. The pitch to him, a changeup, and he takes it low. 1 ball and no strikes.
You know, the unearned runs are already up to 28 now. They had 37 all of last year. We're just at the 1/3 point of the season today.
And the pitch popped up into left center field. Upton is there, and he makes the catch. So he doubled up on the changeup and got Reynolds. 2 men left. It's 1-0 Baltimore. Here at Tropicana Field, Baltimore on top on the strength of Weeder's second inning home run. Just a reminder, as you enjoy a cold one, to look forward to Miller time later in tonight's game or this afternoon's game, as the case may be. Brought to you by Miller Lite. Will Rhymes getting a start against the right-hander Jake Arrieta. Will hitting .277. Swung the bat very well against right-handers. Takes the pitch too low. 1 ball, no strikes. Take a look at that. .391 against right-handed pitching. And he had a couple hits in the game that Arrieta started against the Rays in Baltimore, including an RBI single against Arrieta before he was knocked out in the 4th inning. 1-1 to count. That puts Rhymes down in the count. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Two. Chopper to third. Tollison with the throw, close, and it's there in time.
It's a good play by Tollison because Rhymes was really moving as soon as he hit that ball the other way. You can see him chop it and then out of the box in a hurry. And Tollison had to have a quick transfer and a strong throw, and he got Rhymes by half a stride.
Good call by Tim Sheeto over there at first base. Elliott Johnson. The pitch is away. Elliott with a handful of at-bats against Arrieta. 3 out of 4, including a home run. And he looks at strike 1. 1-1.
Apparently the lights are extra bright today. Elliott wearing the eye black.
You're going to bunt that one. It turned out to be a breaking ball, and he missed it. 1 ball and 2 strikes. And sometimes there's a glare from the lights here in the afternoon, so you got to put that eye black on. And a swing and a miss. And I'm out in front that time. Strikeout number 3 for Arrieta already.
Good change up there. It's amazing what happens to a pitcher when you get ahead of the count consistently, and that's what Arrieta's been doing in this game. He's done a nice job first time through the Rays lineup.
Now it's Jose Molina. Base is empty and 2 gone. There's a strike call.
Remember on Friday night, Wei Yin Chen starts, and it's a, by the way, happy birthday to Jose Molina.
Yep, his 37th today. With a little roller to the right side, backhanded stop by Reynolds, and the toss to Arrieta covering in time. 1, 2, 3 go the Rays for the 3rd consecutive inning. They trail 1-0. More time for the AT&T trivia question of the day. How many left-handed hitters have 400-plus career home runs in Major League history? Could be an anniversary of one that would have some local significance. We'll get the answer to that in the bottom half of this inning. Here's Ronnie Paulino. He walked his first time. Matt Moore walked him on 4 pitches in the 2nd inning. The pitch is a strike. Paulino, the backup catcher for the Orioles, getting some at bats as the designated hitter today. 1 ball, 1 strike.
That 4-pitch walk truly an aberration when you look at his strike to ball breakdown. Other than that at bat, 30 strikes to 11 balls.
It's fouled out of play, and he's ahead of Paulino here, 1-2. Yeah, he just seemed to hit like a little bump in the road there for a handful of pitches. Tap foul, and Molina with that 1 long visit, and then 2 or 3 pitches later he was out there again just to work him through that little rough spot. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Curveball bouncing away.
And Matt's never been a quick starter, but you combine that with the fact that there were a lot of expectations on his shoulders coming out of spring training.
Chopper down to third. Rhymes even with the bag with a lot of time and throws a strike. So that's the first out in the top of the 4th inning.
The Rays have something new for everyone this Father's Day. Sunday, June 17th, the first 10,000 kids 14 and under will get a David Price jersey wallet presented by Grove Financial. Then after the game, Gretchen Wilson, 3 Doors Down, and ZZ Top take the stage. For tickets, visit RaysBaseball.com. I know you are looking forward to that concert.
Yeah, that's a great combination right there. Steve Pearce takes the pitch for a ball. The pitch count up to 50 here with 7 now in the 4th. Yeah, and I'm not sure which one of those acts that you would like the best, because they're all 3 great.
And in the past, Summer Contest Series, 1 group and done. I've got 3.
2 balls and a strike. I mean, ZZ Top, tough to top those guys.
Yeah, I know that's the one you're looking forward to.
High fly ball back into left field. Matsui keeping his eye on that one against the roof, and he makes the catch. 2 gone.
Matsui seeing extended time in this homestand since being called up from AAA Durham in left field. It'll be interesting to see how Joe Madden works his at-bats along with Luke Scott when Desmond Jennings comes back, maybe as soon as the Yankee series.
Steve Tollison. Fastball is too high.
I think you may see Carlos get an occasional day off where Luke Scott could play some first and Matsui can serve as the DH.
Well, out of play. 1-1.
And then obviously Desmond may not play every day coming back from that injury, so Matsui will get some spot starts in the outfield as well. They think maybe as early as Tuesday, if all goes well, down at AAA Durham for Desmond Jennings as early as that start of the Yankee series.
And strike 2 is called. Fastball. 1-2. Well, that would be great to get him back. The offense now. The Rays have been able to survive. They're tied for first despite some major offensive deficits. Pitch inside 2-2, and if they could get Jennings back into the mix, and then eventually Longoria, I guess the latest on him, they're hoping that he can maybe look at a rehab assignment around the middle of the month. 2-2. Foul ball.
It's not just the East that's bunched up either. Texas has now lost 4 in a row, and they still have the best record in the American League. But from the best record of the American League, there are 9 teams within 4 games of the best record in the AL. 9 of the 14, including everybody in the East.
2-2 and a long foul. Well, out of play.
And one of those 5 teams that's not within 4 games of that Texas record is Detroit. And a lot of people feel like the Tigers will still make a run at some point this year.
Yeah, people would be very surprised if they don't. In fact, there's some surprise that they've struggled as much as they have already.
So we're 1/3 of the way through the season, and there are 10 teams basically within striking distance.
Popped up foul the other way this time, and that's out of play. In the National League East, things are close. The American League East, things are very close.
Nothing has been determined early other than a lot of teams have survived injuries and played well, including the Rays.
And now ball 3 is low. Well, Tollison, after getting behind, has battled his way into a full count. And ball 4. Well, Tollison Took the breaking ball there, 3-2. Second walk given up by Moore. That's a 9-pitch at bat there for Tollison to draw that walk.
Now Moore threw a fastball by Tollison his first time up, and on the 3-2 pitch decides to go breaking ball and ends up walking him. That's a frustrating sequence.
To move to first, he's back in. Pitch popped up by Andino. Foul territory, and that's Pena making the catch. We go to the bottom of the fourth now. 1-0 Baltimore. Get the answer to our AT&T trivia question. How many left-handed hitters have 400-plus career home runs in Major League history? Well, the answer to that is only 20. And Fred McGriff got number 400 off Glendon Rush. June the 2nd of 2000. Against the New York Mets. The crime dog.
That was an impressive home run to straightaway center field at the old Shea Stadium. That wasn't, though, the most impressive home run of that series at Shea.
No, not at all. The one that, if you're a Rays fan, how could you ever forget Esteban Yan?
First pitch he's ever seen in the major leagues.
Yep. That was great.
It really was. And it was.
Well, there's a liner up the right side, going to be foul though. The count is 1-1.
And it was on the heels of a Felix Martinez home run. So possibly in Major League Baseball history, certainly Rays history, the most unlikely back-to-back home runs ever. Felix Martinez, Esteban Yan. They said
and maybe in all of baseball. Really. I mean, certainly in Rays history, but you think about those two guys going back-to-back.
And Esteban, they said, never hit one in batting practice.
No.
Didn't even come close.
You couldn't even get odds on that in Vegas with those two guys. The pitch is down. 2 balls and a strike. Pena in the leadoff spot and leading off the fourth. Hot shot again. Foul up the right side. And the count evens on Carlos, 2-2. Continues to be a tough stretch for the Rays offensively. Pitch is down. You know, we're talking about Desmond Jennings. He's missed, is it 18 games now? And in 10 of those, the Rays have scored 3 or fewer runs. The 3-2. Ball 4, and the Rays have a base runner. So Pena heads down the first base line. Well, we brought it up. You brought it up. So we got to take a look, Todd.
Bobby Jones, the pitcher. Esteban Yan hits one over Joe McEwing's head and into the bleachers at the old Shea Stadium. Greg Vaughn couldn't believe it. The rest of the team couldn't believe it. He didn't even have a home run trot at that point.
Here's B.J. Upton. Pitch is down. 1 ball, no strikes. Now, one of the more unlikely home runs you'll ever see. Cut and a miss. Upton thinking about igniting one there, and he missed the slider. 1 ball, 1 strike. Two and one.
This series started promising enough for the Rays offense with that 5-run first against Wei-Yin Chen. 5 hits in that first inning and only 5 hits since the rest of the series. 19 innings.
Liner into center. There's a base hit. Pena's going to round second and stop. Jones Stone's behind him, but he's back in. Carlos stops at second on the base hit by Upton. The Rays have their first 2 base runners and now their first hit of the game.
BJ squares up a fastball. He had a really good at bat against Pedro Strop to draw a walk yesterday. He and Pena kept an 8th inning rally alive against some tough pitchers. And that time, the Rays desperately in need of a base hit. And BJ gets the first one for the Rays here in the 4th.
Well, that's going to get Matt Joyce up here against Jake Arrieta. We referenced it the first time. Joyce coming into this game was 5 out of 10 lifetime against Arrieta with a home run. And for good measure, a couple of walks thrown into the mix. So the Rays with their first opportunity of the afternoon. The pitch is low. Off speed. 1 ball and no strikes. Cut and a miss. And I'm out in front. 1-1.
Another changeup. Changeup at 88, just about 5 miles an hour off his fastball, but a good diving action had Joyce in front.
This one skipping past Wieters, and that will move both runners into scoring position. He tried to go change up for the 3rd straight pitch and threw this one down, and it got past Wieters. Well, Wieters tried to backhand it.
Yeah, not much body movement there. Hits the front of the plate. Wieters playing his 3rd consecutive game in the series, and day game after an afternoon game after a night game, and that one gets by him.
So the wild pitch. The pitch stayed in. The fastball had some movement back toward the plate, but it stayed off the plate. And the count is 3-1. Fly ball back to center field. Adam Jones is there lining up to make the catch. Tagged by Pena. Throw heads to third. Offline and over the head of the third baseman. Here comes Upton headed to the plate. He's going to be awarded the plate anyway on the overthrow, and the Rays will take a 2-1 lead. Well, Matt Joyce drives in a run with a sacrifice fly, and Adam Jones lining up to make a catch and the throw, and he fired to third and sailed it right over Tollison's head at third.
Well, the two leading center fielders and outfield assists are in this series, Adam Jones and B.J. Upton. And Jones wanted to show off his arm with Upton running, but he showed it off by airmailing Tollison at third. And that ball hit the dugout. That's why the home plate umpire, Chris Guccione, was pointing to B.J. Upton at home plate.
A pitch down and in to Ben Zobrist. So the Rays scored 2 runs, a run batted in by Joyce. And the error charged to Adam Jones, his 4th error of the year. There's a strike. And the count is 1-1. Foul, going to slice back and out of play. Down and in. Well, we saw that great throw the other night, the game pitched by David Price, the great throw from Upton. They got Bill Hall at the plate in the 6th inning of that game. Or actually, it was the second base that prevented Hall from scoring. There's a ground ball to second, and Dino's going to make the play. But it was a great throw by Upton on the play, and Hall did not cross the bag in time before the Rays completed their double play on that out of Tollison at second base. And so, not to be outdone, Jones was in position and fired up about trying to get an out at third on Upton moving up to third, but overthrew the bag.
The other part of that play is, as the pitcher, Jake Arrieta, you have to decide which bag you're going to back up, and he chose home plate. And with the depth of that fly ball by Joyce, he probably could have had a little bit better read and backed up third base and possibly prevented that ball from going into the dugout.
One strike the count to Luke. Scott lifts it up the right side, foul. Well, and the Rays taking advantage of the wild pitch too. Walk to Pena, base hit Upton. They were wild pitched into scoring position, and they got a run on the fly ball and another run on the error. 2 outs now with the bases empty. And a popper right side, foul ball. Who's going to get it? Arrieta found himself sandwiched in between Wieters and Reynolds before Reynolds made the catch. Rays come up with 2 and lead 2-1.
You know, I talked to starter Matt Moore yesterday about his development as a pitcher. Just 22 years old, but he always shows so much maturity and wisdom beyond his years, so much patience. He says, you know what, I'm learning something every start. I'm taking what I learned and applying it to the next start. And the way he's bearing down against hitters today, he's stranded 6 guys on base so far. And he said, it's just like the Southern League. I kind of felt my way through that league, ended up dominating that league, and now he's developing as a major league pitcher, and so far so good today. Just 1 run allowed through 4.
Yeah, he continues to move in the right direction. I think it all started with the last 3 innings of the Red Sox outing he had. We go to the 5th, and here is Todd Callis.
Dwayne, thanks. Endy Chavez leads things off. A couple of ground outs in his first 2 at-bats and shows bunt and takes it for a called strike, 0-1. 63 pitches for Matt Moore through 4 innings. He's allowed 5 hits. As Barry mentioned, he stranded a lot of runners today. A couple of walks, 6 men left on base through 4. The only lefty that Matt Moore will see in the lineup, and he's ahead of him 0-2.
A pretty good curveball right there. He had Chavez giving up on that pitch, and it broke in for a strike.
Past the mound, Elliott Johnson has to hustle, and he pulls Pena off the bag with the throw. Moore looked like he had a shot at it, and Johnson had to really be quick and ended up allowing Chavez to reach on a wild throw for an error.
It was going to be close any way you looked at it, but a good throw gets him, and Johnson will get an error here on this throw that pulls Pena off the bag, or did it? It's pretty close down there. A little tough to tell there.
It's like he just left a fraction early to try and make that play. So Chavez reaches on the error. And here's J.J. Hardy for the Rays, now 23 errors in their last 21 games.
Well, the Rays just have a difficult time putting a clean defensive game on the field. So here's another base runner, with the exception of the second. All those base runners came with 2 outs, which helped, but now this one leads off the inning.
Yeah, Matt Moore has not had a 1-2-3 inning to this point. Working out of the stretch a lot today. Misses to Hardy, and the count's 2-0. J.J. Hardy singled his first time up, grounded out his next time. Matt Moore with just 1 win on the season, making his 11th start of the year. Gets Hardy to pop 1 foul. Last year with his start at Yankee Stadium that was so dominant, and then into the series against the Texas Rangers in the American League Division Series, where he won the only game the Rays would win in that series against the Rangers. So many people thought he would just flow right into things here in 2012, and it has not quite been the case for him. He has started out slowly. As we mentioned, he has improved lately, but it has been one of those seasons where he is learning a lot with every start. And at age 22, how many guys jump into this league and dominate at that age? Another throw to first. Chavez has stolen 1 base this year in 3 attempts.
Yeah, his pitch count this year has been higher pitches per inning than he'd like. In fact, he's been in the top 5 average pitches per inning. And even with the base runners today, he's been a little better through 4.
That ball is hit well down the line, though. It is hooking, and it is a foul ball. Plenty deep enough, 20 rows beyond the fence, but foul by about 15 feet.
Well, Wieters had a fastball out in the 2nd inning, and Hardy primed for the fastball here, just a little out in front. There was no question about home run distance, but it was foul.
And that gets the mid-count pitching visit from the coach, Jim Hickey. You don't see that very much in the middle of a count. Well, obviously Hickey, with Matt Moore working with the lead for the first time, wants to make a point here with J.J. Hardy at the plate. You can kickstart your weekend at Tropicana Field on Friday, June 15th. Catch the Rays battle the Marlins when the first 10,000 fans receive a Joe Madden bobblehead presented by the Tampa Bay Times as part of Friday Fest presented by Captain Morgan.
Well, here's the other point. The Rays with 2 runs in the bottom of the 4th, so this is his 11th start. He's pitched with the lead now in 9 of those 11 starts and has just 1 win. And that's something that is on the mind of Jim Hickey.
Yeah, that game against Toronto, he had that 6-0 lead going into the 5th. Broken bat line drive caught by Elliott Johnson for the first out of the inning. He gets a broken bat on Hardy for the first out after a near home run by JJ the previous pitch.
It's got a little spin on it, and the break on the ball and the break on the bat.
Well, you're right. That's a little problem area this year for Matt, is that he has had his opportunities to pick up a victory. That 5th inning was the most egregious against Toronto, but he had that big lead. Ray still ended up winning the game. Here's a little cue shot to Zobrist. Only has 1 play with the runner Chavez. Zobrist gets Adam Jones for the 2nd out of the inning.
Well, he's gone away from the fastball here, breaking ball, and then a changeup after Hardy almost hit the fastball into the offices beyond left field.
A lot of meetings in this inning. Molina goes out to talk to Matt Moore, and why not? Because the guy at the plate has done some damage, Matt Wieters. Matt Wieters has homered and also singled, hit a homer on a first pitch fastball, singled on a curveball. Molina and Moore really with some lengthy discussions to the point where Guccione comes out and says, all right, guys. See what Wieters has done. He has been the better of the 2 Matts in their matchup in that short 4-at-bat sequence. So Chavez on second. He reached on an error. 2 outs. A little bit low with the fastball, 1-0. Inside and low, 2-0. Moore has walked 2 in this game, both towards the bottom part of the order. Ronnie Paulino on 4 pitches. He's the number 7 hitter. Steve Tollison, the number 9 hitter, on a full count walk. But behind Wieters now 2-0. And they do not look like they are too intent on giving Wieters much to hit here. It's 3-0. Guy with some pop behind Wieters on deck in Mark Reynolds. The first base is 3 right now with a runner on second and 2 outs. And that is inside. Maybe Molina asked him for a little pitch around there because it did not appear that Matt Moore was going to engage Matt Wieters very much in that at bat. So he walks with 2 outs. Runners on first and second, and here's Mark Reynolds. Reynolds with a single in the 2nd inning, a little ground ball to the unoccupied second base area. There you see the area between Carlos Pena and Ben Zobrist where he hit that first base hit, also fly to center. There's a strike. Up with a fastball, 1-1. Pretty consistent with his fastball velocity today. 94 has been the most prevalent reading. It's about where Matt Moore normally stays. 94, 95 occasionally. There's a ball ripped to left field. Base hit. Around third will come Chavez. Matsui's throw is to third. So the Orioles tie the game on a 2-out RBI by Mark Reynolds.
Well, he came with a fastball. And Reynolds responds, driving in his 12th run of the year to tie the game. The pitch came back over the plate.
So a short-lived lead for the Rays. It's now 2-2 again after the Rays scored 2 in the bottom of the 4th. Ronnie Paulino, the hitter, and he swings and fouls one. 80 pitches now for Matt Moore. 51 strikes, 29 balls. Six hits for the Orioles, just 1 for the Rays here in the 5th. Popped in the air, right side. Pena back, but Zobers is going to make the call. Also, Joyce is there, but Ben puts it away. So an error leads to a run. We are tied at 2, heading to the bottom of the 5th. By your local Southern Ford dealers. And by Checkers. Checkers. Feast on. Orioles with a lot more opportunities in this game. But we're tied at 2. The Rays have not left a runner on base thus far. The Orioles have left 8 on base. Hideki Matsui will lead things off for Tampa Bay here in the bottom half of the 5th inning. He was retired on a nice play by Jake Arrieta his first time up. Breaking ball misses away, 1-0. Matsui will Rhymes Elliott Johnson the first 3 to face Arrieta here in the bottom half of the 5th. Hit pretty well to left center field. Chavez going back to the track, reaches up and makes a fine catch on the move. Matsui retired on a well hit ball.
Yeah, Matsui attacks this pitch up and away. Got the good part of the bat on this one to drive it a long way into left center field, and that's a good running catch by Chavez, reaching up a couple steps from the wall.
So Hideki retired and Will Rhymes will bat. Rhymes takes a pitch away, 1-0. Last time Arrieta faced the Rays was in Baltimore on May 13th. There's a called strike, 1-1.
You know, that drive by Matsui is exactly what Orestes was talking about at the top of the show, about his approach to hitting and the ability to drive the ball, and you get more in it. And watch his technique, and this is exactly what Orestes was talking about.
Solid foundation.
And he hit that ball a long way and hard the other way.
Yeah, deep part of left center field there, right in front of the Budweiser sign. 2-1 pitches away. It's 3-1.
If anything, if he had gathered just a tad more, the way Orestes described what he learned over in Japan, he might have hit that ball off the wall.
Up high, ball 4. Will Rhymes draws a walk. Second walk issued by Arrieta, 1 in the 4th to lead things off. That came around to score for Carlos Pena. And now Will Rhymes walks with 1 out here in the 5th.
Gather with that front foot back toward the catcher initially, and then uncoil.
Yep. Johnson takes it away, 1-0.
Our Orestes Destrada, a legend not only in the major leagues here, but in Japan.
Yeah.
And in ancient Greek literature as well.
Really?
Yeah. He's working the Spanish TV now. He's starting a whole legendary run over there.
Here's a pitch inside. It's 2-0. So all of a sudden, Arrieta struggling with the strike zone a little bit.
Yeah, he's got to be named after Orestes in the Greek literature, don't you think?
Is that what you have?
That's what I've got. I mean, his sister Electra, his mother Clytemnestra, and Agamemnon, his father, and there's a lot of intrigue there, betrayal, murder, all kinds of things.
Sounds like a miniseries.
Orestes had the Furies after him all of his life because of the things he did, and then he came back and squared it all away.
Is that right?
Yeah, that's
a hero in a sense.
Yep.
Well, that's our Orestes.
He's got a lot to live up to, and he's done it.
3-0 the count to Elliot Johnson, and there's a pitch on the inner half. Johnson thought it might have been inside. "37 strikes, 33 balls." That's the pitch breakdown for Jake Arrieta through 70 pitches thus far. We're in the 5th. Arrieta walked Will Rhymes with 1 out. Matsui hit a ball deep to left field for the 1st out, and now he's behind Elliot Johnson, 3-1. And he loses him. Back-to-back walks issued by Arrieta. The number 7 and number 8 hitters walk, and that'll draw a visit. Last time Jake Arrieta faced the Rays was at Camden Yards. Lasted 3 2/3 innings. Only walked 2 in that outing, but allowed 10 hits and 7 runs, and did not even finish the 4th. Now it's time for the Just for Men Auto Stop Foolproof Stat. Just as we take a look at the Orioles bullpen against the Rays. Their bullpen, Dwayne's been good against everybody, but especially against Tampa Bay this year. 15 2/3 innings, 2 earned runs.
Well, I tell you, the Rays had hit home runs, those back-to-back home runs off Troy Patton, right?
Yeah, it was against Patton.
Yeah.
There was a couple of switch hitters.
Yeah.
Hit righty. It was Elliott.
That's about it.
That was
against his bullpen.
No other hits.
How about that?
Elliot Johnson, Ben Zobrist, back-to-back homers. That's it. Stroke, nothing. Johnson, nothing. All the other guys we've seen out of the Orioles bullpen, nada. Jose Molina bats with 1st and 2nd and 1 out, and fouls one off at the plate.
That's largely been true for both these teams. The pitching has been so good. The Rays have struggled to score runs. They've got a battered offense. The Orioles recently struggling to score runs in the pitching. And neither team really wants to write home about the defense either.
A lot of similarities with these teams. 0-1 pitch in the dirt. Molina says stay, and the runners do. Rhymes at 2nd and Johnson at 1st.
That's a slider thrown into the dirt. Wieters managed to have time to kind of slide a bit to his right to keep that ball in front of him.
We mentioned the first game of the series. The Orioles bullpen last year throwing the most innings in baseball. This year just behind Kansas City coming into the series in the American League on another pace to have over 550 innings. Ground ball towards the hole, cut off by the third baseman. The second one, no chance for the relay. Good takeout by Elliott as he made sure Andino couldn't make a relay throw.
Yeah, Johnson, a great job there in the middle of the infield. It turns out to be a fielder's choice. As we know, Molina, being a veteran catcher at 37, does not run all that well. Tollefson took his time to make sure he made a good throw. And in a way that's good, in a way it's not so good, because Johnson was right on top of Andino on a ball that wasn't hit that sharply to begin with. So a good job by Elliott Johnson.
So now the Rays with runners on the corners and 2 outs. And Carlos Pena, the batter. Pena hit a high fly ball to center field his first time up, then walked his last time. Pitch misses inside, 1-0. After facing 4 of the last 5 starters as left-handers, Carlos happy to see a righty on the mound. It seems like he's seen the ball well out of Arrieta's hands.
Well, he came into the game 3 out of 6 lifetime against Arrieta. Walk and a run scored today.
Takes that pitch inside. It's 2-0. Arrieta went through the Rays lineup the first time through in perfect fashion. 9 up, 9 down. Then a walk to Pena, a single to Upton, a wild pitch and an error mixed in. And next thing you know, the Rays had a 2-1 lead. In this inning, a couple of walks. And now behind Pena, 2-0. And it's 3-0. Look, Showalter, we mentioned the bullpen has been used extensively this year. That's the key for the Orioles if they are to stay in this race, is they need to get starting pitching to go deep. Because as good as the bullpen has been, you can't expect them to throw that many innings and continue to be the best in baseball. They're going to get some action going here. 3-0 pitch, low inside, a 4-pitch walk to Carlos Pena. So the bases are loaded for B.J. Upton.
Well, Arrieta made 23 pitches in the 4th, and he's starting to have the pitches mount up on him here in the 5th. He's closing in on 20 in this inning. That's when pitchers feel it the most. There's Dana Evelyn in the bullpen.
Slider away, 1-0. Upton has the only base hit for the Rays today. Hit a fastball into center field for a single his last time up. Runners at every base for the Rays. Will Rhymes on third, Jose Molina on second, Carlos Pena on first. Up high, 2-0. In addition to his single, Upton hit a line drive his first time up that was caught by the left fielder Chavez. Ground ball foul on the 2-0 pitch. It's 2-1. Outside, 3-1.
A good look by Upton there.
Well, nowhere to go if you're Jake Arrieta. You have to come in with a strike here. Bases loaded, 2 outs, bottom of the 5th of a tie game. Hard hit, bouncing ball, fair ball into the outfield. 1 run scores. Molina scores. Pena the third. Upton with a 2 RBI double, and the Rays regain the lead 4-2.
The Rays have 2 hits. Upton has both of them. After taking that last pitch just off the corner to run the count to 3-1, he forced Arrieta to come into him. Pitch out over the plate, and he shot it just off Collison's glove on a diving attempt back a third. And just like that, the Rays grabbed the lead.
And that will be the end of the day for Jake Arrieta, who doesn't last through the 5th after a perfect first 3 innings in this game. The Rays with just 2 hits, but a lot of walks in the balance. 3 this inning have hurt Arrieta. The Metro PCS call to the bullpen. We'll have more after this. Not so much in the next 2 as he faced 11 hitters. And he walked 4 of those in the 4th and the 5th, including 3 this inning. So he leaves the game. Dana Evelyn, the new pitcher, a lefty to face Matt Joyce. Evelyn started a game against the Rays in Baltimore earlier this year. His only start of the season. Pitch inside to Joyce, misses. And it's 1-0.
Well, another opportunity for Matt Joyce, who has been swinging the bat well against lefties. Evelyn pitched those 6 innings against the Rays in that start, gave up 3 runs. Joyce had a base hit off of him there.
A little bit in front of that fastball. It's 1-1.
Well, you see the way Matt has picked it up against lefties since May the 6th, 9 out of 24.
Chop foul. Evelyn ahead of the count, 1-2. Not a lot of hits today for the Rays. In fact, only 2. Same number they had in last night's game, but those 2 hits have resulted in 4 runs. B.J. Upton with both hits. And the Rays taking advantage of some wildness from Jake Arrieta. Swing and a miss, gets him on an inside fastball, but the Rays regain the lead with a 2-run 5th. B.J. Upton with a 2 RBI doubles, now 4-2. got things rolling for Baltimore with this solo shot. That was to lead off the second inning. And then Matt Joyce would hit a sacrifice fly that would score not only one run, Carlos Pena, but a second run when Adam Jones airmailed third base. And then the Orioles would tie it on that Mark Reynolds RBI single. B.J. Upton breaks the tie with that bases loaded double to score two. So Matt Moore, for the second consecutive inning, has a lead to work with as he starts out Steve Pearce with a called strike, 0-1. Pearce playing his first game with the Baltimore Orioles. And there's a strike as well. Pearce went around, according to Chris Guccione, 0-2. Pearce played formerly with the Pirates, but acquired from the Yankees organization. And Bill Hall designated for assignment for the second time in the last 10 days for Baltimore. Matt Moore had 1 ball and 2 strikes. Ball ripped foul. Moore has 3 strikeouts, but none since the second inning.
There's Wade Davis. Wade was up last inning, so he is ready at a moment's notice here in the 6th.
A lot of righties in this lineup for Baltimore. A switch hitter in their catcher Matt Wieters, who hits 5th, and Endy Chavez is a lefty who bats 2nd. The rest are righties. Cued, base hit, right field. So Pearce leads off the top half of the 6th inning with a 2-strike single.
Yeah, and Moore is about to complete his 3rd time through the lineup. Heavily stacked with righties, and so that's why Davis is available when and if they need him down there.
Moore has allowed 7 base hits. As you see the pitch count inning by inning. He has not retired the Orioles in order in any inning, and that stays intact with that leadoff single by Pearce. Pitch away to Tollison. 1-0. Steve Tollison getting a chance to play third base today. In last night's game, Tollison, actually 2 nights ago, Tollison played out in the outfield. Ground ball towards third. Rhymes to second for 1. Zobrist to turn in time for the double play. So the Rays get 2 on the ground ball by Tollison, and that's just what Matt Moore needed.
Leadoff man on base for the 2nd straight inning, and this time the double play erases that leadoff man. Pearce out at 2nd, and Zobrist on the turn to the throw to get Tollison.
Back to the top of the order, Robert Andino takes a called strike, 0-1. Dwayne mentioned Matt Moore has had a chance this year with some leads. He has a 2nd lead in as many innings, trying to get through the 6th. Big double play right there, and now he's ahead of Andino, 0-2. 2 of his 3 strikeouts today have come against Robert Andino, and they were both on fastballs that Andino swung through. This time he fouls off the fastball.
You know, since that big lead got away from him against the Blue Jays,
right,
he really has done a great job, I think, because he felt the game started to speed up on him. And there have been times since then when he stepped back and collected himself a little bit more. And we've seen that a couple times in this game.
That's a good point. He felt like he was rushing a bit. And we saw David Price a couple of times in his start on Friday night take his time behind the mound, regroup. 0-2 to Andino. That's a called 3rd strike right down the middle. 4th strikeout for Moore, 3 of them against Andino, and Matt Moore is through 6 now with the Rays leading 4-2. Together to end hunger through home runs for food. With each Rays home run, Mosaic donates $500 to Feeding America Tampa Bay. So far, the season total up to $29,500 for Feeding America Tampa Bay. Ben Zobrist leads things off against Dana Evelyn, his first full inning of work. Evelyn came on to strike out Matt Joyce to end the fifth. And Zobrist swings through a slider, 0-1.
Ben's 0 for 6 lifetime, but he has drawn 3 walks against Evelyn.
And his last 3 plate appearances have been walks. But Ben was uncharacteristic in that first at bat, leaving the strike zone against Arrieta, chasing a 2-2 pitch. But now he turns around and bats right-handed for the first time today against the lefty Evelyn. This ball's hit well to left field. Chavez heading back to the track. He looks up. It's off the wall. Zobrist into second with a leadoff double for the Rays here in the bottom half of the 6th inning. Ben just 8 for his last 57, but he turned on that fastball.
Now the fastball up and out over the plate. And Ben with a great stroke on that one, hit it over the head of Chavez out there, and then he had to chase it on the carom.
Be good to see Ben Zobrist get that stroke back. We mentioned Desmond Jennings about to come back. Zobrist this year has hit better as a left-hand hitter batting average wise, but he's taken a lot of walks from both sides. Here's Luke Scott. Inside, moves his feet, 1-0. Well, Dana Evelyn in that start against the Rays at Camden Yards ended up going 6 innings. No decision, allowed 3 runs on 5 hits. He walked 6 Rays in that game. Luis Ayala is starting to loosen in the Orioles bullpen. Inside with a fastball, 2-0. Evelyn pitched on Monday against the Blue Jays, went 4 innings and 50 pitches in that outing. Longest relief outing of the year for the Orioles. Zobrist on second. Rays lead 4-2. We're in the bottom half of the 6th inning. Chases a pitch there. It's 2-1.
Yeah, that slider just kept running right away from Luke Scott. Just got a little bit of it.
Luke likes to give himself hitting lessons and has a little tutorials during the course of an at bat every once in a while. Says he talks to his front shoulder a lot about staying in there. Facing his former team today, Luke has struck out on a curveball and popped to first, 0 for 2. Evelyn in for the Orioles in place of Jake Arrieta, who lasted 4 2/3 innings. Strike called, 2-2. For Hardy, backhand throw, good scoop by Reynolds in time to barely get Luke Scott on the play. Ben Zobrist moves to third.
Well, that's a great play by Hardy, and a very close play on the pickup at first by Reynolds. Here's another look. The bat broken and flies over the mound. It was a great pickup and quick transition, and the scoop at first. Quality all the way around defensively.
win this 2-run game, the Orioles will bring the infield in tight against Hideki Matsui. In yesterday afternoon's game, we saw the Rays score a run even with the infield in and a ground ball hit right to Robert Andino. Matsui takes a pitch. The throw hits Zobrist and it gets away. Zobrist is going to score. The Rays take a 5-2 lead on another Baltimore error. Rays scored their second run of the game on an overthrow by Adam Jones, and now they get another run on an error.
Hit him on the helmet. The throw to the foul side of the bag.
Pitch misses to Matsui. It's 2-0. So the Rays don't have a lot of hits to talk about lately. Just 2 hits yesterday and a run. Today 3 hits and 5 runs. The last 2 games they've combined for 5 hits yet scored 6 runs. Matsui takes a pitch down low and Evelyn behind him 3-0. Matsui is 0 for 2. Retired on a nice play by Jake Arrieta his first time up. And hit a deep fly ball off Arrieta that was tracked down nicely by Andy Chavez his second time up. Now ahead of the count 3-0. That's a called strike. Matsui has faced Evelyn twice in his career, a double and a walk. Slider gets him to a full count. A little bit of a cutter maybe. It's 3-2. So the Rays have scored 2 in the 4th. They added 2 more in the 5th. And another run here in the 6th inning. Three-two pitch drilled to left field. Chavez will play it on a hop. And Hideki Matsui has a base hit. Once again, Duane goes the opposite way and hits a line drive.
Takes a 3-2 fastball in that direction. Picks up his first hit of the day. But after the Rays score the run here in the 6th inning, Matsui hits his way aboard. Keep the pressure on, and now he'll leave in favor of a pinch runner. So the Rays get Rich Thompson, who will give them more speed at first and better defense in the outfield.
So Matsui's first non-home run base hit as a Ray. His 3rd hit since joining Tampa Bay. The first 2 were home runs. Now a 1-out base hit, and that will do it for Dana Evelyn. Call to the bullpen brought to you by Metro PCS. Metro PCS, wireless for all. Luis Ayala will be the Orioles' new pitcher when we come back. bottom half of the 6th inning. Hideki Matsui's having fun with this team.
Yeah, it's a brand new experience for him, that's for sure, right from his first day here and the reception he got in the clubhouse.
It is hard for anybody to come to this Rays team and not have fun. But it's good to see a guy who for years has always had just that solid, stoic face that doesn't smile very much. All of a sudden you see a lot of grins from a guy like Matsui, as we have a pinch hitter. Sean Rodriguez will face the new pitcher Luis Ayala. So Buck Showalter goes to a righty out of the bullpen. Ayala and the Rays counter with a righty pinch hitter and Sean Rodriguez. As Will Rhymes leaves after an 0 for 1, he walked and scored a run his last time. And here's Sean. Takes a strike.
Ayala with the slider up. He has some good numbers. 34-year-old right-hander. Most recently with the Yankees. Ayala's a guy who spent some time back when the Expos were in Montreal, went to Washington with that team at 05 and spent some time over there. Then with the Mets, and a run part of a year with the Twins and the Marlins, and then 2010 in the minor leagues.
There's a pinch hit base hit for Sean Rodriguez. So Rodriguez right off the bench delivers. And the Rays all of a sudden a bunch back-to-back singles. The pinch runner Thompson goes to second.
Well, the Rays hit total up to 5. Pitch out over the plate.
That graphic earlier we showed you where the Rays had 2 hits all year against the Orioles bullpen. They have 3 this inning against the Orioles.
Well, of course.
Here's a swing and a foul. Elliott Johnson is the batter. He's going to try and prove that his eye black is doing some damage today. Day game inside Tropicana Field. He did walk his last time. One of 3 walks issued by Arrieta in that inning and 4 in the game. That really was costly to the Orioles starter as he allowed 4 runs to score. And 3 of those were basically via walks. 2 guys who walked scored. Another guy who bounced into a fielder's choice, replacing a runner who had walked, scored as well. So the Rays lead 5-2. Thompson on second, Rodriguez on first, and 1 out here in the 6th. There's a base hit into left field. Thompson is being sent around. Chavez bobbles. His throw is late, and the Rays take a 6-2 lead. Johnson into second on the throw. The eye black works.
How about that? 3 consecutive hits off this bullpen now. 2 coming off Ayala, and the Rays have scored another run. That run charged to Evelyn. Elliott Johnson found the hole to the right of Hardy. Chavez trying to make a quick pickup, bobbled it. He wouldn't have gotten the runner anyway. The Rays wind up with 2 more men in scoring position.
So now Jose Molina with the infield drawn in takes a pitch inside for a ball, 1-0. I think after the bobble he would have been better served throwing to third. He may have had a shot at Sean Rodriguez, or he could have kept Elliott Johnson at first, because you're right, he did not have any chance at Thompson after that bobble. 6-2 Rays. They have scored 2 runs in each of the last 3 innings. Molina takes it inside again, 2-0.
And you know, there's really a situation where I'm not sure that fielders are as aware as they used to be of the speed of a runner. With Thompson going, he had no chance at him at the plate at all, particularly after that bobble. So you'd want to keep the other runners from advancing as much as he could.
Ground ball past Tolleson into left field. Rodriguez scores. Johnson held at third. Rays now lead it 7-2. 4 consecutive Rays have reached base.
Well, here's that ball to the left of Tollison. They're going to charge him with an error.
First baseman, Carlos Pena.
That'll be the third error of the game charged to the Baltimore Orioles. Adam Jones with an overthrow, Matt Wieters with a throw into the helmet of Ben Zobrist, and now Tollison a fielding error. So as much as Rays fans have lamented some shaky D on their home team side, the Orioles continue to play the worst defense in the American League.
Yeah, they've made 51 errors this year, including the 3 today.
So here's Carlos Pena, still 1 out, and he'll take a strike. Double by Zobrist, single by Matsui. That was the end of Evelyn's afternoon. Single by pinch hitter Sean Rodriguez, single by Elliott Johnson, and Molina reaches on the error, and now Carlos Pena the hitter. And the Rays have built a 7-2 lead. A team that was really struggling to score runs and bunch base hits, all of a sudden coming alive in the middle of this game. Pena takes inside. It's 1-1. Pena drew 2 walks against Jake Arrieta. He drew 2 of the 4 issued by the Orioles starter. Came around to score in the 4th. Fly ball center field. Adam Jones is there. Tagging is Elliott Johnson. Jones has a cannon, but the throw's a little bit late. On one hop, Elliott Johnson slides in safely. Sacrifice fly by Carlos Pena. RBI number 25 on the year for the Rays first baseman. And it's now an 8-2 Rays lead.
Well, this is part of allowing the runners to advance. The Rays have cashed in on that opportunity. So Elliott Johnson, who had gone to second and then moved up, well, the error scores. The Rays make it a 6-run lead.
Yeah, that's a good point. Some of the errors are obvious. They're right in front of you. They're a scoring play. And some of the errors are not truly errors, as Upton sends a ground ball, like Chavez allowing the runners to advance the base and end up costing you almost as much. You have a ground out to end the inning, but 4-run score for the Rays in the inning. It is 8-2 Tampa Bay. Jake McGee is the new pitcher for Tampa Bay. And McGee has been lights out in his last 10 games. Has not allowed a run during that stretch. And he takes over from Matt Moore here in the 7th. And once again, here's Dwayne's stats.
All right, Todd, thank you very much. Productive middle part of this game for the Rays. 2 runs in the 4th, 2 in the 5th, and 4 runs in the 6th inning. So Jake McGee follows Matt Moore, who worked the front 6. Rich Thompson's going to stay on after pinch running. Thompson in the game at left. Sean Rodriguez stays on to play third base after hitting for Rhymes. So here is Endy Chavez. Chavez, Hardy, and Jones due up for Baltimore. And McGee's pitch is high. Chavez reached on an error in the 5th inning and scored a run. He's officially 0 for 3 with that run scored. 6 innings for Matt Moore. 3 times plus 1 hitter through the lineup. It's fouled out of play. Matt finished the day with 4 strikeouts. Gave up 7 hits. And he departs with an 8-2 lead. You see 93 pitches on the day, 2 runs, 1 earned, and he walked 3. Chavez fouls it out of play. So McGee, the hard throwing lefty, takes over for Moore, the hard throwing lefty.
We saw this on Friday night with David Price handing the ball off to Jake McGee. And McGee picked up back-to-back strikeouts out of the bullpen. Really good to see back-to-back solid starts from Matt Moore.
It's wide. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
It wasn't good except for this inning, or good after that first inning. It was good throughout for 2 straight starts, and that's building blocks for Moore.
Wade Davis up again in the Rays bullpen. Chavez sends a fly ball into left, and Thompson is there to grab it. That's the first out. He had a couple of spots that he had to work out of trouble. Moore did. Gave up the home run to Wieters. But this outing and the last couple in their own way, certainly the outing against the White Sox, he was very impressive in that one. 6 innings and leaves with a good chance to pick up a win in this one. 1-0, and there were parts of that prior start against the Blue Jays, the one that got away from him in the 5th, and even back before that, the last 10 hitters of the start against the Red Sox, where he was showing signs of putting some things together. So he absolutely has taken big steps in the right direction, and this one another one of those.
He had to work out of a lot of trouble today too, and he hasn't always been able to do that consistently this year. So he left a lot of runners on base.
1 ball, 2 strikes. And the run they scored in the 5th inning turned out to be unearned as a result of the error. A little bit wide right there. No swing by Hardy. So the count is 2-2.
Gotta love the way Jake McGee's throwing the ball right now. Just fastball after fastball after fastball, but just spotting it where he wants. 95, 96, 97. It's fun to watch.
Tapper foul.
That was a rare slider, and again, his slider's still work in progress. It's getting better. It doesn't have to be that sharp, though, at least right now, for him to have success, because that fastball's been so good.
And he's located well with the fastball. Liner into center field. That's in for a base hit. Upton quickly over to cut it off. Hardy has his 2nd hit of the day. He is 2 for 4. It's hit number 8 for Baltimore.
You can get in on the action with exclusive on-field seating in the Papa John's bullpen box. Available dates are going fast, so act now to make your group reservation behind the Rays bullpen by calling 855-GROUP-TB or online at raysbaseball.com.
Right there it is. You're close to the action down in that bullpen. It's a good spot. Adam Jones takes a look at strike one. 96 around the knees. Matt Moore for 6. Now McGee here in the 7th. Cut a miss. 0-2. Still a 2-strike count.
Well, that one. 98. I mean, Jake's 80% plus fastballs. So as a hitter, you pretty much know you're going to get a steady diet of fastballs. But when you throw it with that velocity and that location, nobody's been able to do much against it.
Yeah, the question is not which pitch he's throwing, but what can you do with that pitch? This one is popped up by Jones at 97. He fouls it out of play. McGee lately has been pumping it right into that strike zone. Come out 11 strikes in his first 15 pitches out of the bullpen. And a roller to the right side. Zobrist far to his left and makes the throw to first. Hardy moves into second and Jones is out. Zobrist to Pena. 2 outs in the 7th inning.
You mentioned the Orioles with a heavy right-hand hitting lineup against the lefty starter Matt Moore. But Buck Showalter does have lefty options off the bench. So Joe Madden with Wade Davis warming up, just thinking about the right spot to pull the trigger. I think this could be, as he looks at his lineup card, this could be the last batter that he lets McGee face, because then you got all righties beginning with Reynolds after that.
There's Wade down there in the bullpen. Tigers hitting in the bottom of the 9th. They trail New York 5-1. And the Red Sox batting in the top of the 9th, trailing the Blue Jays in Toronto 5-1. Leaders takes one upstairs. 1 ball, no strikes. Things a bit crowded in the American League East. Rays and the Orioles started the day tied for first. It's fouled out of play. And the count is 1-1. Phil Hughes has just completed that game. The Yankees win it. A complete game effort for Hughes. It's a 5-1 final. They beat Verlander. Hughes 5-5 and Verlander 5-4. Swing got a miss. A complete game for Phil Hughes. He had 8 strikeouts. Two outs in the 7th inning here. Hardy at second. McGee's 1-2. Oh, he just missed with that fastball. Not by much. That was very close off the edge.
Oh, that's close. That's tough to take with 2 strikes.
I don't know how you take that.
I really don't. I mean, it's right where Molina's set up.
Now the 2-2 pitch. And that's strike 3. Well, you can take the one prior to that, but not this one and get away with it. So McGee strikes out Wieters. 7th inning stretch time. Rays lead 8-2.
Tropicana Field, where the Rays lead the Orioles 8-2 going into the bottom of the 7th inning. Now, Rays been able to find some holes in this Orioles defense tonight and get some offense going, but we all know improvements can always be made. So for our text poll question, we want to know, what is the Rays' biggest need? TB1 for tighter defense, TB2 situational hitting, and TB3 help. Send your vote to 789-789. Standard rates do apply. Dwayne?
Well, thank you very much. Well, the Rays have put some runs together down the middle part of this game. The 4-run sixth gives them a 6-run lead. It's 8-2. They have taken advantage of the Baltimore defensive deficiencies. That has contributed. The Rays have 6 hits to go with the opportunities they've been handed.
You know, it's amazing, and that's a legitimate text poll, and we've talked about the Rays' struggles defensively and hitting, and here we are, 1/3 of the way through the season. If the Rays win and Texas loses later on today, with all this going on, the Rays could still have the best record of the American League, tied with the Rangers.
How about that?
Seriously. I mean, it's really remarkable when you think about it.
It is. There's absolutely no question about that. Troy Patton is the new pitcher facing Matt Joyce, and the pitch is a strike. Well, what it shows you is what great pitching will do for you. It begins there, and that's a big beginning. This one is down, and now it's a 1-1 count. And the Rays, a game plan really to accumulate great pitching and protect it with great defense, and lately the defense has not been nearly what the Rays would expect to have, and the pitching has kept them through. You know, it really goes to everything else that Joe Madden and his staff and the baseball office tries to do here. A number of little things that make sense, and you add them all together, and so far this year they've added up to more wins than you might think, given the offensive issues with injuries and so forth, and the defensive letdown. It all goes into the package, and it's made a pretty good stew to this point. Swing and a miss. Joyce is out on strikes. First out here in the 7th as Patton picks it up. Well, the Blue Jays have beaten the Red Sox. That game is a final. So that will move Boston and Toronto back into a tie. Right now, the Rays and the Orioles each 30 and 23. New York at 29 and 24. And Boston and Toronto each 28 and 26. That's about as tight as you're going to get.
And then Baltimore will continue on their road trip and go to Boston, and the Rays head to the Yankees. So
look at that.
That's amazing.
2.5 games separating top from bottom right now. The Rays can hang on to this win, as you point out. They have a chance to tie Texas for the best record. That would give them a full game lead in the East and a game and a half on New York. And they would be 3 up on Boston and Toronto if they can win this game. They're up 8-2 right now. Zobrist pops it up. Foul. That's going to be out of play. So the count is a ball, 2 strikes.
A lot of people in Baltimore ask us whether they see similarities between what the Rays did in 08 and this year's Baltimore team. And to me, it all boils down to whether the Orioles can pitch like that 08 Rays team did. And a lot of that 08 team's pitching was also predicated on very good defense. When you add extra outs like the Orioles defense has allowed this year, that makes it tougher on your staff.
And the pitch he could not hold up, says Tim Sheeta down at first. Tried to check, but Zobrist out on strikes. Back-to-back strikeouts for Patton.
Zobrist had to hit a home run against Patton at Camden Yards, but Patton, I think, is tough to pick up for some righties. And right there, Zobrist tried to hold up, but you can see where he could have easily been called out, as he was by Tim Sheeta.
Luke Scott. Pitch is down to him. The Rays saw Patton in a 3-inning relief appearance up in Baltimore when they beat the Orioles 9-8. He gave up those back-to-back home runs to Elliott Johnson and Ben Zobrist. That one by Scott. And the count is 1-1. Right there's a pretty good example too of a left-handed hitter maybe not picking up the ball as well. Scott missed that pitch.
He keeps the ball behind him pretty long in that delivery, and then all of a sudden the ball fires out from behind his back, and sometimes it is that 92 can jump on you in a hurry.
Luke fouls it. 1-2. Here's a look at what the hitter might see.
See how he tucks that ball behind his back and is back there, and then all of a sudden it's on top of you. You saw Luke with a late swing on a 92-mile-an-hour fastball prior to that foul ball.
A ball, 2 strikes. Ground ball to first. Right there is Reynolds. With the pickup, he steps on the bag, and we head into the 8th. 8-2 Tampa Bay.
Tampa Bay Rays and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Tampa Bay Rays.
New pitcher for the Rays will be the right-hander Wade Davis. So Jake McGee pitches 1 inning, gives up a hit, and picks up a strikeout. Nothing more. And Wade on to work the 8th inning with the right-handed bat of Mark Reynolds due to lead it off.
Wade's 18th appearance of the season. Since moving to the bullpen, he has been very, very good this year. 1.85 ERA. A lot of fastballs. He'll mix in a curve, a changeup, and a slider occasionally, although that's down from last year when he was a starter. And he'll get a lot of right-handers here in the Orioles lineup to face.
Reynolds is 2 for 3 with a run batted in. And he fouls the first pitch away. Strike 1. And strike 2. Wade pitched an inning in the final game of the Chicago White Sox series. 1 scoreless inning. It was Wednesday. He also pitched 2 innings on Monday in the opening game of that series. A ball, 2 strikes. It's foul right back. Holds the count at 1-2.
95 on that fastball. And that's the thing about Wade as a member of the bullpen. He can come out and blaze from the start. Hit 92, 93, 95 this inning.
Pitch inside, 2-2. I think about him in the bullpen and what a quality arm the Rays have to go into that bullpen. They have 5 starters. Now Alex Cobb came in to take the place of Jeff Neiman, who's on the disabled list. So to go that deep, I remember what Earl Weaver used to say about 5-man rotations. It's tough to find 5 good starters, so I'm going to go with 4. Well, how about this? The Rays started the year with 5 with Davis in the bullpen. Now they have to replace 1, and Cobb has pitched well. And so you've got a quality arm like Wade Davis, who'd be starting for almost any other team in the bullpen. And that speaks to the success the Rays have had despite poor defense and almost lackluster or non-existent offense, certainly recently, and a lot of that has to do with injury. It just emphasizes how deep the Rays pitching has been and how important it's been to the success of this team.
Homegrown talent. Shields the veteran at age 30, everybody else in their 20s. And to me, the attitude for Wade Davis has been outstanding this year. It's not easy to be thought of always in your career as a starter and accept this role, and even after his buddy Neiman got hurt, still realize that this is what's best for the team.
3-2 and a high fly ball hit deep into left. That ball is going to get out of here. Thompson will watch it sail out. 3-2 fastball, and Mark Reynolds picks up his 3rd hit of the day. That's going to make it an 8-3 ball game. And a Rays fan out there who retrieved the ball, flips it right back out onto the field.
Reynolds missed some time earlier this year with an oblique injury, but it seems like he's starting to find that consistent swing since about the first week of May. He's hit over 300. Hasn't had a lot of power this year. That was just his 3rd home run, but again, he was injured for part of the season.
And here's a foul ball by Polito, and it gets a part of Molina. You'd think he might get through his birthday, Molina, without getting some kind of shot behind the plate, but he's trying to shake that one off.
I thought he was going to go for the full game without any damage, and there you go.
It's a strike, and it's 1-1. Well, in regard to Reynolds, here's a guy. He led their team in home runs last year and runs batted in and strikeouts, and it's a long ball or strikeout approach for him. And he can get into a groove like that, and 3 hits today, including that long one. And that's why he is dangerous.
And Wade didn't want to give in 3-2 with that lead of 8-2 at the time.
A swing and a miss. Good pitch there, cutting away from Polino. Strikeout. Yeah, and at that point, you certainly don't want to start walking people, and hitters know that. So you get 3-2 in what at the time was a 6-run game. They're looking for something over the plate, knowing that pitcher's priority is to stay away from the walk and throw a strike.
That was a nasty pitch there to Polino for his strikeout.
Here's Steve Pearce, and the fastball is over for strike 1. Cut and a miss. Oh, it's a nice hard breaking ball right there. Shot the outside corner at 95, pretty close.
That was a little Jose Molina special right there. Tried to get that call, but couldn't quite bring it back on the outside corner.
He'll shoot it again out there at 95.
You can see how Jose frames those pitches too. Those are both off, but Molina makes them look so good. And fans react to it, but those are both accurate calls by Guccione.
Down and away. So now it's 3 balls, 2 strikes again. Here's singled on a breaking ball in the 6th. That was against Matt Moore. 3-2. He fouls it. Look out. So that will force another 3-2 pitch. Moore for 6, McGee for 1. And now Wade Davis. Foul ball again. He just challenged him with a fastball in the mid-90s. And Pierce looking for that 3-2 fastball, fouls it.
Pierce has some pop. 11 home runs with Scranton Wilkes-Barre before the trade at the AAA level.
And strike 3 call. How about that? Forget about 95. Try the hook. And strike 3 on the curveball.
I mean, in Pierce's mind, there is nothing coming but a fastball here and frozen, and that is beautiful. Pierce knew it as soon as he saw it. I mean, that is a perfect 3-2 pitch if you're able to spot that curveball like Wade Davis was.
Well, Reynolds was looking for the 3-2 fastball, got it. A couple of 3-2 fastballs to Pierce, and then the curveball, and here's a breaking ball to start Tollison in there for a strike. Back to the fastball high. It's 1-1. Tollison has struck out and grounded into a double play in between a walk. That advances the count to 1-2. Baltimore scored a run in the 2nd inning, an unearned run in the 5th. They have a run here in the 8th. Rays lead 8-3. And the 1-2 pitch is strike 3 call. The fastball on the outside corner. So he strikes out the side after giving up the home run. Rays lead 8-3.
Rays Live right after the game. I have 2 RSVPs already. Orestes Estrada and Laura McKeeman have both said yes, they will be attending. We have all your post-game analysis, your interviews from the locker room. Joe Madden, of course, will speak. You'll hear it on Rays Live, the post-game, right after the game.
Still room, but it's filling up fast. So RSVP as soon as you can. Rich Thompson will open the bottom of the 8th inning. And he takes the pitch down. He came into the game as a pinch runner back in the 6th when the Rays scored 4 runs. Stayed on to play in left field. And a one-hopper just foul outside the line back of first. Thompson coming close here. He would have had an extra base hit there with his speed.
No, we've chronicled the story, and what a story for Rich Thompson all those years in the minor leagues and finally getting a shot. And here he is with his 16th at bat. 8 of his previous 15 have come against lefties. So it's just kind of the circumstances here with the Rays, a lot of left-hand hitters, but this lefty's had to face a lot of left-handed pitching.
And he chops it on the ground to Andino at second. And he throws him out of there. That's the first out. This July, don't miss the biggest event of the summer as baseball's greatest stars battle for home field advantage in the Fall Classic. The road to the World Series begins with the 2012 MLB All-Star Game Tuesday, July 10th at 7:30 p.m. Eastern, 4:30 p.m. Pacific on Fox. 1 out in the 8th. Pitching change coming for Baltimore. Metro PCS call to the bullpen. Wireless for all. Darren O'Day, the right-hander, on to face Sean Rodriguez. And boy, this is a different look for a right-handed hitter. This is the sidewinder and then some.
Yeah, he's an uncomfortable at bat for a right-handed hitter. That sinker, slider, and everything comes from the far third base side with that sidearm motion.
1 ball, 1 strike. Patton worked an inning and a third with 2 strikeouts, no runs. And O'Day on to get some work. It's fouled away. Runs the count to 1-2. O'Day, another right-hander who was claimed on waivers by the Baltimore Orioles after Texas put him on the waiver wire. The big one was, of course, Pedro Strop. He was a waiver claim. So was O'Day. And strike 3 call to Sean Rodriguez.
Well, we've seen everybody in the Orioles bullpen in this series with one exception, Miguel Gonzalez, who is really the 8th man in the bullpen. They have 8 guys in the bullpen right now because with these off days, as Sean Rodriguez, just as we've mentioned, an uncomfortable at bat against O'Day for a righty. With all these off days, the Orioles going right back to their starters with an off day prior to and after this series. They basically can go with 4 starters right now and 8 guys out of the bullpen.
Elliott Johnson pitches down. A ball and no strikes.
They sent Tommy Hunter down when Gonzalez was added to the team.
Pitch popped up. Foul ball. Wieters after it. He's going to have a play and makes the catch. So it's a 1-2-3 8th. We go to the 9th. 8-3 Tampa Bay.
Rays all season long with a 7-day-a-week subscription to the Tampa Bay Times. Subscribe today and get one of the top 10 sports sections in the country. For an exclusive subscription offer, go to tampabay.com/Rays offer.
Well, Wade Davis goes back to the hill. Top of the order, Andino, Chavez, and Hardy due up. The Rays trying to close this one out with a win. Rays dropped the game here yesterday 2-1. Won the opener Friday night 5-0. And here's Robert Andino. He goes for the first pitch and lofts it into left center field. A long shot off the bottom of the wall. He's going to get himself 2 bases. Jumping on the first pitch, and Andino doubles off the bottom of the wall out there.
Well, he was looking fastball, got a fastball up in the zone, and he really hit this well. Andino, who was such a hero to Rays fans last year for them making the playoffs with what he did to the Boston Red Sox, takes this one off the wall in left center field, only about a couple of feet away from a solo home run.
There's Fernando Rodney up in the Rays bullpen. Well, the Rays will have tomorrow off. They open a series in New York against the Yankees on Tuesday night. Pitch down and in to Andy Chavez. 1 ball, no strikes.
Ideally, Joe would love Wade Davis to take it to the house, but at the same time, Wade's up to 28 pitches. So he doesn't want to overextend him either.
And a strike at the knees. James Shields scheduled to open that series against New York against Andy Pettitte.
How about that?
And a cut and a tap foul. It's 1-2.
Rays just went through a series with the Orioles where they saw 2 out of 3 lefty starters. Series with the White Sox where they saw 2 out of 3 lefty starters.
Same thing's going to happen in New York.
There you go.
Yep. David Price and CC Sabathia on Thursday. Alex Cobb and Ivan Nova on Wednesday. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Breaking ball lifted the other way, back into left for Thompson, who makes the catch. So Chavez lifts the curveball to left, 1 away.
Seems like when you're struggling against lefties like the Rays are, you just see lefty after lefty in that opposing starting lineup, starting rotation. And Joe Madden will have to, he'll get some time to think because the next game's not till Tuesday, but he'll have to figure out where he wants Jennings in the lineup and where he wants to place Carlos Pena, who's been in that leadoff spot. Obviously, Jennings will be number 1.
Here's J.J. Hardy. Pitch is a little high to him. 1 ball and no strikes. And the pitch is fouled back. 1-1. Texas batting in the 4th in Los Angeles with a 1-0 lead on the Angels. Yankees have won. Blue Jays beat the Red Sox. Little nubber deflected by Davis. No play on this one as Davis had to scramble back after that ball, and by the time he got to it, no chance to get anybody. It's going to be a squibber of an infield hit by Hardy, and we'll get Joe Madden out of the dugout with Fernando Rodney down there in the bullpen. Wade Davis up to the mid-30s in pitch count.
I'm not sure even if Wade hadn't touched that ball, if anybody was going to be able to make a play on Hardy. That was hit slowly enough. It would have been nearly impossible for either Zobrist or L.A. Johnson to throw him out. So that was one of those perfectly placed ground balls.
So Wade Davis will depart, and we'll be back in a moment. Fernando Rodney will take over for Wade Davis. Matt Moore for 6, McGee for an inning, Davis an inning and a third. And here's Fernando Rodney. He's been superb out of the bullpen. On now in a non-save situation.
27th game of the year, 2-1. Picked up his 17th save here Friday night. That ERA just a little bit above 1. Strikeouts to walks, 25-4.
So he inherits a couple of base runners. Nick Johnson will hit for Jones. And the pitch is down. 1 ball and no strikes. Rodney pitched 2/3 of an inning in the game on Friday. And the pitch, a fastball, misses. 2-0. That game actually, even though it was 5-0, turned out to be a save situation for him. When the Orioles, with 1 out in the 9th inning, loaded the bases on 3 consecutive singles. He came on to get Reynolds and Davis to end the game. There's a strike, catching the inside edge. That makes it 2-1.
Well, Adam Jones, coming into this game and including today, 23 out of 24 games he's had a hit, and his last 2 times against Rodney he's had a base hit. But Buck may be thinking Johnson, the lefty, can have a good at bat.
Out of play, and the count is 2-2. The Orioles have out-hit the Rays 11-6, but the Rays lead 8-3. And a popper, short center. Johnson out from shortstop, makes the catch. That is out number 2. Runners holding at first and third on the pop to short center. Matt Wieters will bat with 2 men on and 2 men out.
In the scope of the game, not a huge run if they would have hit a sacrifice fly there to make it 8-4. But if you're Fernando Rodney, you want to save any run you can for your compatriots in the bullpen. And with Wade Davis leaving runners on first and third with 1 out, he was able to do so on that short pop fly.
Matt Wieters, and the pitch is down to Wieters. Home run, single and a walk, called out on strikes his last time. And the pitch is a strike. 1-1. Rodney trying to finish this one off and move the Rays back into first place all alone. Inside. 2 balls and a strike.
The beauty of Rodney's success is also in its simplicity. Just a quick gather, almost all fastball, changeup. Hasn't thrown many sliders all year long. Just devastating with that separation between his fastball and his changeup.
2-1. Wieters fouls it. That takes it to 2-2. The Rays trying to take this series for Baltimore and even the season series. They've spent 34 days out of a possible 58 with at least a share of first place. 12 days in sole possession of first. They're 1 out away from moving into first by a game. If they can end this one here. 2-2. Line drive, base hit into center. And they'll have to wait a few more minutes. And Dino scores. Hardy stops at second as Wieters took that 97-mile-per-hour fastball right back through the middle and scores the run. That's charged to Davis. And it's 8-4.
Wieters on base 4 times today with his 3rd base hit. It was 97, but it was up in the zone, and Wieters able to just put a nice level stroke on it. Two outs with 2 men on.
Here's Mark Reynolds. Reynolds has 3 hits. He fouls it. So the Baltimore Orioles have a dozen hits. Wieters and Reynolds have half of them between the two of them. And a little bit wide. 1-1. There's a strike down around the knees. 97 and down for that strike.
You mentioned the possibility of the season series being tied. The all-time series could be tied if the Rays win this one.
1 ball, 2 strikes. Rodney to the plate. Did he get him? He did not on the appeal. Boy, the Rays thought they might have had the final out right there. Tim Sheeta said, not quite.
One of the few right-hand hitters able to hold off on this changeup. I mean, that looks so good for so long. Look at this pitch dive down at the end, and Reynolds did a great job holding back.
And I tell you, the location of that pitch on Fox Track wasn't too bad on its own. 2-2. Just wide. Reynolds lays off. And so it's a full count.
In our scouting report, we talked about how many pitches Reynolds sees per at bat. He's held off on 2 pitches that most guys would have already struck out on those 2 strike pitches.
3 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs, 2 on. And a ground ball foul. He threw him another changeup, and that 3-2 changeup, he was out in front, pulled it foul. Fernando Rodney facing the first baseman, Mark Reynolds. And a chopper left side, handled by Johnson. Rays are in first place again. Reynolds out, short to first. It's an 8-4 final. The Orioles out hit the Rays 12-6, and the Rays win it 8-4. Matt Moore is going to pick up his second win of the year. He's 2-5, and the Rays in first by a full game over Baltimore. They stay a game and a half up on New York, and they're 3 ahead of both Toronto and Boston at the end of play today in the American League East. So the Rays take 2 out of 3 from the Baltimore Orioles and close out the series up a game in the East. As we promised earlier in the game, Miller time, brought to you by Miller Lite. For that, we go back to B.J. Upton's 2-base hit. Gave the Rays a 4-2 lead in the 5th inning. He got ahead 3-1 in the count, and then doubled up the left field line to give the Rays the lead. And from that point forward, they never relinquished it, winning 8-4 over the Baltimore Orioles. Jake Arrieta, the losing pitcher, his record now 2-7. Took 3 hours to play this game before 21,693 as the Rays come away with a victory. They'll head into New York, opening a series against the Yankees there on Tuesday night. Into New York, and then into interleague play in Miami on this next road trip, a 6-gamer. James Shields will open the series Tuesday night at Yankee Stadium against Andy Pettitte. Shields will be after his 7th win of the season. Pettitte 2-2. And then 2 night games. Alex Cobb will work the middle game, and David Price the Thursday game in New York. Right now, let's go to the field and Barry LeBrock.
All right, Dwayne, thank you with Carlos Pena. And Joe Madden was saying that walking is hitting for you. Do you feel like you have the luxury of a more patient approach, batting first as opposed to third or fourth?
Well, I mean, it should be that way. At least when you see your name up there in the leadoff spot, you try to, get on base. Even though I don't want to take away from my aggressiveness, I think in the back of your mind, I'm thinking more, hey, let's get on base for my teammates, And it can help me. It can help me out because when I'm selective and I swing my pitch, I'm going to be successful. 2
walks today for you and an RBI. This team, obviously you're a leader in the clubhouse, you're a veteran presence. Is there some sort of pride with you with the injuries that you've sustained and now in first place in the toughest division in baseball?
Absolutely. I try to do the best I can to get the guys together, you know what I mean, and stay tight, as a unit, keep that chemistry going. And they help me out because I know they got my back. They support me. They pull for me. They try to encourage me. So it's a two-way street, and personally I just feel like I'm part of the family. And sure feels so nice when we can put some victories together, and here we are in first place, and we just want to keep on playing good baseball.
Yeah, you had one of the best seats in the house for Matt Moore, a young guy that you probably have watched since last year, and he's developing as he goes. What have you seen in him thus far this year, and what do you foresee for him?
I really like the last few outings. Obviously he's got an unbelievable talent, great stuff. And, I just can't wait until he puts it all together because it's just going to be amazing. And today was a great outing for him. I'm glad he got the win. Am I right? And, it's just nice for him to get some, gratification after so much, hard work. So I'm very happy for him.
I appreciate you stopping by.
No problem.
All right, there he is, Carlos Pena. 2 walks today, on base twice, and a RBI and a sac fly. Let's go back upstairs.
All right, Barry, thank you very much. Rays are winners over Baltimore, an 8-4 final here at Tropicana Field this afternoon. We'll be back with concluding comments. Stay with us now. The post-game show's around the corner as well.